Nnọọ na Igbo Media, ozi anyị ji maka ya bịa tata n'iru akwụkwọ si n'aka otu nwanne anyị nwoke, a Biafra activist. Dịka o si dee ozi ya n'iru akwụkwọ, ọ dere sị, Yoruba and Hausa support as Igbo governors block Miyetti Allah, Fulani's vigilante in South-East. Ya bụ ozi ka anyị ji bịa tata na Igbo Media. Ị ga-esi ya bụ ozi, gbaa mbọ gwa anyị iche ma mekwa ka ozi alụtụgbu nna anyị n'ebe dị iche iche aka. Ngwa gere ya ka ọha n'uju.
A request that was made by Miyetti Allah to the South-Eastern governors, demanding and requesting that they want to float security outfits in their region, talking about Miyetti Allah vigilante group. For me, the boldness, the effrontery with which they came up with this idea is questionable. Because we have noted with concern that every genuine effort to even come about community-based policing system like state police has always been resisted by the same Miyetti Allah. Because this same Miyetti Allah, when the government and governor of Plateau State made a proposal about state police, when the Senate Committee on Constitutional Review visited Plateau State, the same Miyetti Allah in Plateau State rose quickly to say they reject state police. Now, the same Miyetti Allah who will be rejecting state police will travel all the way from the north to the southeastern part of the country to start requesting that they want to form vigilante under their own umbrella in another man's land. It's worrisome. Come to think of it, these are people who came into Nigeria in sometime 14th century and met the indigenous Hausa people on ground, met the indigenous Yoruba people on ground, met the indigenous Igbo people on ground, met the indigenous other minorities on ground, including the people in Benue, in Taraba, in Plateau, and different places. But over the years, the same Fulani have completely subjugated the Hausa communities, to the point that the Hausa communities, the Hausa people themselves now complain that all the available political positions, all the available traditional rulership positions, they are the ones who have taken over everything. And if you go and look at the population of the Hausas and the population of the Fulani, you begin to wonder, how do they achieve this? So it's going to show that the Fulanis are very clever. You can't take that away from them. Because according to Wikipedia, the Fulanis are about 15 million people, while the Hausas, according to the Wikipedia, are about 60 million people. So how come a 15 million people is ruling over a 60 million people? You have to even take our attention briefly to even Kwara State, in order to be precise. Let's not go into the full details of the story of Janta Alimi and Afonja. But we understand that the Ilorin was a known Yoruba community before the Fulanis diplomatically, systematically, through Janta Alimi, took over that community. Even recently, we had a session where even a very prominent Northerner, talking about Buba Galadima, chronicled why and how they drafted Buhari into politics. That the ultimate aim was to stop and prevent the Yorubas through the OPC from dismantling what he called the Fulani structure in Ilorin. Now, we are talking about terrorism. If you look at what is happening when it has to do with terrorism, why is it that the Fulanis are the center of it? You see what is happening in Borno, what is happening in Taraba, Benue, Kogi, Kwara, Zamfara, Katsina, Sokoto. Why is it that they are at the center of it? Yet you see chefs from the north coming to tell federal government, do not use kinetic approach against them. Do not negotiate with them. And somebody will open his mouth and tell Nigerians, tell the world that there is a tribal war in Nigeria. And when they will ask him who is fighting tribal war, he will say between the Fulanis and others. The federal government is supposed to remain neutral. And these same people will be bold enough to approach other regions seeking to establish security outfit in form of militant group. I must say that I salute the courage of the Southeastern governors in rejecting that move, but I'm questioning the boldness, the effrontery with which they even came up with that ideology, with that proposal in the first place. That's why personally, it is irrespective of anybody's opinion, I continue maintaining my stand that I stand with Nigerian government in their collaboration with the American government to get to the root of this problem. As far as I'm concerned, that bombing of Lakurawa terrorist group in Tangaza local government area of Sokoto state was a defining moment in our fight against terrorism. Because I said it because before that bombing, little did Nigerians know that even Sokoto state had presence of terrorists. And after the bombing, it became clear that perhaps Sokoto state is the corporate headquarters of terrorism and terrorists in Nigeria. Meaning they were doing it clandestinely, secretly, so that all attention in fighting them will be shifted to perhaps Zamfara, Katsina, Kwara, Southern Kaduna, Miyetti. And if you look at what happened in Ondo State recently, a situation where terrorists burned down a police station, I said it before and I want to repeat it, that what they did is like a diversionary tactics, like what the Israeli government did in the past that is called Entebbe mathematics, to divert the attention of the government, to make the government believe that they have now shifted to perhaps Ondo State, and attention will now be focused on fighting them in Ondo State. Don't get it twisted. I'm not saying the government should not go after those who bomb the police station in Ondo State and even neutralize them. But the thing is, as they fight them in Ondo State, they should not lose their focus on those terrorists in Sokoto, in Zamfara, in Katsina, in Benue, in Taraba, in Kwara, in Southern Kaduna. As far as I'm concerned, they are the same people. They have a way of coordinating themselves. We have seen stories in the past from people in the northern part of the country, how they will give insight about the intelligence they gather on their own, how these people invite their colleagues from other part of the country, other states, when they want to go and attack communities. But the question I continue asking, why is the Fulani at the heart of terrorism in Nigeria? We must ask that question. I will ask question, why would we often hear and see people who are elites, people who should know better, people who have even served in the army in the past, who come out openly like Shegumi to say negotiate with bandits, to say that if you bomb bandits that it makes it harder that it will attack communities more, that even the Shegumi with saying that there's a tribal war in Nigeria, and when you be asked, he will say that the tribal war is between Fulani and others, and you be asking federal government to stand aloof, neutral. For me, I don't know whether there's a tribal war or not. Well, as at the last count, what I know is that we have terrorists who are disturbing communities, maiming, killing, raping, who the government must wipe out. I continue maintaining, I continue standing on my position. Like I always say, that even Tony Bello, I believe he may have died. Even we have seen video recently where people are claiming that he is the one giving order to communities for people to vacate. But I want to say that he has not been bold enough to operate with the impunity he is known for. Because before now, the Tony Bello would have made videos showing his location, threatening the government and even communities. But we have not seen that. So it means that even if he has not been killed, he may be hiding, he may be apprehensive because of the fear of the unknown. So because that is what it takes to exert your power as a sovereign state. I've already said that Nigeria as a sovereign state must exert its power, its coercive power on every inch of Nigerian territorial integrity. Sharing that monopoly of coercive power renders the country as a weak sovereign state. And I must say that that is not acceptable, because the government, the armed forces, anytime they request for money to fight insurgency, to prosecute war against insurgency, they always have the leave of the house, and it is always granted. So if money is not a challenge, and procuring hardware, military hardware platforms is not a challenge, so I must say that the military, I'm not saying they are not trying, they must put in their best, and we must at this point reject the security architecture to the point where the locals are adequately inculcated into the system, just like the Director General of DSS Ajayi emphasized when he said that the communities should be empowered to be the first line of defense in case of invasion. I must say we must get to the point where the communities own the security in their different localities. We are going to think of it, they have been established that all crime is local, and to that extent the locals know the terrain better than any personnel or any personnel you are bringing in from other part of the country, whether through DSS, through army, through navy, through whatever military paramilitary agency. And also we should jettison the current command and control system that trickles from the office of the president, who of course we understand is the president and the commander of the armed forces. Let that be in place. Let us have the forest guard in place to run side by side with it. Let us have the state police in place to run side by side with it. Just as the president, Mr. Senator Ahmed Bola Tinubu, have made it clear that he has promised international partners like the president of the United States of America, like the European Union, that we are going to come about state police.
Daalụ nne maka isonyere anyị n'iru akwụkwọ n'ụbọchị tata na Igbo Media. Ọ bụ na ihe anyị na-ewetara gị dị gị mma, gbaa mbọ gbasaa ozi a ma mekwa ka ozi a rute ụmụnna anyị n'ebe dị iche iche aka. Ngwa ka ọ dị.